Scott, we are live. We are.
I'm just playing here.
We're
live.
We're live, and I'm so not prepared. But you know what? I'm more prepared than I thought because
we're live. We're here.
Yeah, we're
here. Your camera's not right. We're moving everything around. We're all good. I got paint on my hands because I haven't cleaned up for the show. But you know what? Let's get it started anyway.
Absolutely. And as our show says here, we're going with the flow of life. We're showing up. And it's not that flow. Gee, we'll be right back.
Grab your friends, find your enemies and make amends, and we'll meet in the middle. Take the pride and set it aside. My hands will build you a shield, and we'll solve the riddle. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times. Oh, 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 oh. And we'll remember these times, we'll remember these times. Oh, 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 oh.
I love this song. It just
I know.
I love it.
I know. God. Where'd you get that? Where'd you find that song?
That's a secret, and I'll have to tell you after the show.
What? You stole it.
It's part of a program that I use. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's part of the promo thing that I use. So.
It's a cool song. It's a cool.
Thank
song.
you. It is. It is.
I'll have to sing an acoustic version of it.
That would be fantastic. I just love
cool.
it because I think it. I think it's just fantastic.
Send me the title. Send me the title sometime.
Yeah, I will. Maybe we'll find it somewhere else too. So.
All right.
I love it. So how is everyone out there doing? That's such a poignant and important question to ask people these days. Friday night, I came down being pretty sick with the chills and the cold. I had fever for like 3-4 days. And, but my granddaughter was here at my house for 3 days with the fever last week. So, but I'm doing really good.
Did you do a COVID test? Did you do a test?
I haven't yet. And I will.
Oh, okay.
Right. But there. Hi, Scott. Thank you so much for being here. The other Scott's in the house.
Scott, thank you. He gave me some really kind words about some of my art and stuff, and I really appreciate it. Scott, thank you very much. I'm just having fun, brother. And if people like what I'm painting, that's awesome. But I appreciate the kind words you gave me the other day. Maybe it was yesterday, but it was great.
Yeah, I'm hoping to plan to post those pictures of your latest piece because it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm going to work on that here a little bit. Just thought of that a little bit ago.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, because you're just talented. It's just amazing that I've got so many friends with so many hidden talents, and it's. I had one today, and I know he's going to kill me for this, but I think I'm just going to bring this out now. And I think Scott knows this, and Scott probably already seen it, but I saw somebody post this, and hey, if it's on the internet, then I'm going to grab it. I didn't see no copyright.
If it's on the internet, it is fair game, ladies and gentlemen.
This guy named I introduced this guy at my network marketing company because I'm top leader there at the time. So in November 2019, I had a chance to introduce this guy as a keynote speaker. Now I'm introducing him out of the closet, because this guy's talented and he does.
Careful how you use that phrase.
Well, you'll see in a minute. Stay with me, people. He does StreamYard, okay? And he does StreamYard, and the cat's out of the bag. Listen to this. Now you got to listen. This is really fast, but he's got talent. And check this out. This is Ken Walls making his debut here. That's Ken Walls, people. Ken Walls. Somebody better take him.
But singing one of my favorite all-time artists, Bob Seger.
That is just freaking talented.
Night Moves. It's just a great song. So excellent. That is excellent.
Is that just not? I mean, I know I got a cold, but damn it, my ear.
Well, no. It was he was on point. It sounded great. But the point of that is that Everybody out there has things that they can do or that they want to try, but they're always afraid of just failure. They're always afraid of not looking good. They're always afraid of not sounding good. Ladies and gentlemen, take it from me. Sing like nobody's watching. Dance in the rain. Paint, color, draw, do art. Just do anything that lights you up inside. And it doesn't matter what people think. I'll tell you the truth. I'll go to a museum and I'll look around and everybody will point out like the most important pieces of art. And I'll look at them kind of like crossing my eyes saying, I don't get it. Everybody's got their own opinions. It doesn't matter. You know, if you had to be a great singer, Snoop Dogg would be broke. That's all I got to say.
You know, I love how you talked about just now as far as going with the flow and don't care what anybody thinks, because because today's February 1st. Today happens to be somebody that I dated for 10 years and we've not been together for 2 years. But you know what? He was there for me for some tough times, some hard times. And, you know, we know people in different aspects, and he still has a special place in my heart. And he doesn't watch a show, and I'm sure he's going to watch a show and he's going to go, why the heck am I watching the show? But I wanted to give a shout out because today's his birthday and he really doesn't care for his birthday. He's one of those guys. Oh yeah, it's just another day birthday. But, you know, I just, you know, because we're not together doesn't mean he doesn't have a place in my heart. So I really, really just wanted to do a little shout out for his birthday. And, you know, he was there for some hard times for me, you know, my mom, my dad, and just a lot of special times. So these are a little couple pictures, and it's just a quick happy birthday to Ricky. So here we go.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. The sun will shine, the flowers bloom, the birds will sing a song for you. Happy birthday to you.
I've done a lot of freaking crazy fun shit with him. I mean,
well, happy birthday.
Yeah, from riding my bike and almost getting killed down in Milwaukee because I don't stop for cars and just a bunch of stuff. We've done, you know, one time we were at a I think I told this story before on another show, but long story short, we were at a light and he stopped and the bike Harley just kind of went sideways and I kind of fell off the bike for a second. And I had these jackets on because it was cold. I was like the little Michelin girl, went up, did a cartwheel, and came back on before the light changed. It was hysterical.
That's great.
I'm glad at least I haven't seen the footage of that one ever yet show up. And if it shows up, they go, I know who that was.
Jerry's mentioning something about tomorrow. Do we have
okay.
He says, do you realize that tomorrow is the big day, I hope?
As far as the Groundhog Day?
The big is what is tomorrow? Is tomorrow Groundhog Day?
Yes, tomorrow is Groundhog's Day.
Is that a big day still? Do people still do that? I mean, do they still?
I believe so. We're going to talk about it on Cheryl and I show.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Cheryl.
Jerry, is that what you're referring to? Are you referring to Groundhog Day and hoping that the winter gets a little shorter or longer?
Either
or
that.
You're hoping for?
Either that or maybe it's his birthday tomorrow. I don't know, and I haven't looked yet. I don't know. Hello, beautiful. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. So
thank you very much for joining us.
So today's title, now that we got all that little stuff out of the way, today's title just came up with going with the flow of life because, you know, this month is I'm supposed to get back on the horse with interviewing people for my Live, Love, Laugh podcast and a bunch of all these different things I'm doing this month. And yet I came down with this little cold and I didn't get to see my gynecologist. And what's this? Of course you should be. Go ahead, read it.
Of course you should be aware it is a big thing here. I'm not sure where he is. In fact, we're doing the CBC Groundhog live tomorrow. Don't you remember meeting Chucky when you were here? Do you remember meeting Chucky?
Duh. Now it just slept. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
I'll be
right. All right. I'm not sure what exactly happened there. But yeah, Jerry, it's a Groundhog Day, and Punxsutawney Phil, I think it is, and it's in Pennsylvania. That's been going on forever. I don't remember what it is. Let's see, at 7:24 tomorrow, Phil looks for his shadow, and if we will have 6 more weeks of winter. So if he sees his shadow, we get 6 more weeks of winter. And if he doesn't see a shadow, then it'll be a shorter winter. I guess that's how it all works.
Whoops. Oh, what did I do? Did I just knock him off the studio? See, this is live. This is what happens sometimes. Oh my gosh.
I just got kicked out of the studio. Did you do that or did I do that?
I don't know, but I went and got our little friend.
There you go. At 7:24 tomorrow, Phil looks for a shadow. We'll have 6 more weeks of winter. And yes, I'm correct. If he sees a shadow, it's winter. And if he doesn't, it's not. Does anybody know how that all started? I mean, how essentially a rodent became the forecaster? I think maybe it's got something to do with the fact that weathermen are always so bad at predicting the weather that we said perhaps a rodent can do better.
I don't know, Scott, but maybe I can message Jerry a link or email him a link and he can just show up right now. How about that?
Jerry, would you be willing to join us and talk about going with the flow? Jerry shows up and we're asking him on the show. Jerry, are you in a position where you could join us on the air? Just let us know, text it in. And if you are, then Lynn will send you the link and we'll get you on here to talk about Punxsutawney Phil. And if anybody could spell Punxsutawney other than Jerry.
Send me the link. Okay. So
send it.
Okay, I'm going to send it on Messenger, Jerry.
Going on Messenger.
Okay.
Well, he's on Facebook. It must be okay.
Well, sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes he doesn't like it that way.
Oh, you guys have done these shows before together.
Well, we did one.
I'm like Johnny come lately.
Okay.
Wait a minute. So now we got a story. Tom Gillette's joining us and saying, 2 guys in a field drinking beer, and one said, let's bet on if he sees a shadow, and then tell everyone it was a prediction of the weather. You know what? That's as good as explanation as any.
Yeah, but I'm going to have him on the show tomorrow. There's Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Let me introduce this man. He is the man that gave me. You got to be really special to get one of these. Hi, Jerry. Let me introduce this. Oh, feedback. You're going to have to shut that off, Jerry. You got to be really special. Jerry. Oh, feedback. You're going to have to shut that off, Jerry. When you figure it out, Jerry, then I'll unmute you.
Jerry, what he'll need is headphones. He needs headphones.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. You got
Sorry about that. I had you playing in the background. Good evening, Scott. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Jerry.
The story of the Groundhog, Scott, so you're aware, I started coaching about 10 years ago. And when I started coaching, I was looking for a brand. And if you ever remember the movie Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray,
yeah.
So what it was, if you remember, he kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over. So when I started into it, that's kind of the definition of insanity when you do the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Yes. So anyway, I came up with a groundhog as a brand. And I started using groundhogs. In fact, the one that Lynn got, she visited here. So I gave her one when she left there. So we give those to our clients all over the country that we work with. It's kind of like something, it's a branding thing. And like I said, it's like I've already started promoting this with Groundhog Day tomorrow. We're already making posts. We're going to actually do a live show at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and we call it the CBC Groundhog Live Special. And we use it as a purpose of teaching people that if you keep saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, but you're not changing anything, it doesn't happen. So we have small little bitty groundhogs. That's little Chucky. I've got big Chucky sitting in there. Believe it or not, I have a groundhog outfit. So big Chucky will actually be on the show tomorrow, Lynn.
I'll be sharing that for sure.
Yeah. So that's
Jerry,
kind of,
I want to thank you for not wearing the Groundhog outfit. I don't need the nightmares tonight. Thank you. I really appreciate where you're going with the thought, though. I think it's brilliant as somebody who works with people to help change their lives. I love the idea of using the groundhog.
well, that's what we do, you know. And I've been a business coach. I've been through a lot of changes in my life. In fact, so you'll know, one day Lynn kept going on one of her shows, and Lynn kept saying, I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to write. And I got so sick and fed up with her, I'm going to, that
I said I would.
I pulled her to the task. I said, this bullshit stops now. When are you going? I'm serious.
Yep, it
Because
was April 15th.
there you
And
go.
3
And I said,
weeks
okay.
later to the day, it was published.
You know, her and Brian were going round and round and around, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It's like, well, so what's your problem? Do it. I've written 8 books in my life. I wrote 1 book in a Sunday afternoon. Let's get this shit moving on. Quit talking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lynn took her famous trip across the U.S. and she wanted to stop and meet us. So she spent a couple days here. So when she left, I keep those Chuckies like she's got there. I order them a couple dozen at a time. And like I said, they go all over the country. Every client gets one along with the other stuff we do. And it's just one of those branded things. So every year when Groundhog Day comes up, we make a really big production. Like we even run a contest one year and we donated to charity based on where's your Chucky. And we have people sending us photos of where their Chucky was. And believe it or not, we've had Chuckies that have been shot. I've had a Chucky that has been blown up with tannerite by a client. I've had Chuckies stolen, kidnapped, shot. It's really, like I said, it's kind of it's a fun thing, but it has a point to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to get one of those Chuckies and put them in rehab, and I'll send you a picture from rehab.
I'm going to get some for you, Scott. I'll be right back. Don't take me away, Lynn. I'm going to get some.
Okay.
All right. You go.
Meanwhile, why don't you read this? Why don't you read this real quick?
Oh, okay. We got a nice long one. This is from Tim. The first reported news of Groundhog Day observance was arguably made by the Punxsutawney Spirit newspaper of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania in 1886. Up to the time of press, the beast has not seen its shadow. However, it was not until the following year in 1887 that the first Groundhog Day considered official was commemorated there, with a group making a trip to Gobbler's Knob, part of the town, to consult the groundhog. People have gathered annually at the spot for the event ever since. And the groundhog was not named Phil until 1961. Tim, great research. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
And it's a big party up there. Like this is a celebration. Where Phil is what they call Gobbler's Knob, which is about 8 miles out of town. So they have this big, there'll be thousands of people. They'll be reporting live tomorrow, and you can see them. They have this group of guys that come up, and they're all wearing top hats and tails and all this, and they pull Phil out. And it's really funny because the mayor of New York a few years ago, they decided they was going to have him pull out a groundhog. Well, the groundhog bit the mayor of New York when he held the groundhog up. So sometimes they turn really radical. Well, see, I went and got some. So I went and got something, Lynn. So see, this is.
Wait! I gotta take a picture of this, Scott. We gotta take a picture of this. It's like
take a picture of it.
This didn't happen unless I take a picture of this.
See, and this is the first time you've ever had a groundhog on your show.
There you go. Oh my gosh, I love it.
That's crazy.
Being that we grew up in New York, we think that's hysterical.
Yeah. So anyway, a couple of years ago, we were doing a trade show. So it's like we need, Bucky from the gas station. See, everybody always calls him a gopher and other things. Yeah, he does look like Bucky. So back about 7-8 years ago, we were going to a trade show. So we were looking for groundhog outfits, and that's part of the actual outfit. So in the trade show, I had a guy dress up in the groundhog outfit in our trade booth. The only problem is this thing is made out of styrofoam, as you can see. So when you're wearing it, you don't get much air. That thing, you will sweat your butt off in that thing. Okay. So we had this kid in the Groundhog outfit. He couldn't survive but about 30 minutes, and we had to get him out because it was like a sweatsuit he had on.
Yeah. A friend of mine was the Philly fanatic for the Philadelphia Phillies. And for a number of years, he was the fanatic, and we used to do some events together and stuff. And he could only come out and do about 15 minutes, and then he'd have to go back and take it off for a few minutes, and then come back out for 15 minutes, then go back out, because he would the same thing. Once you're inside those suits, you just start sweating to beat the band, and it's really easy to dehydrate and pass out if you're not careful.
Yeah, the suit itself is pretty well, very airtight, shall we say?
Yeah.
There's no air gets to your body, and the sweat just starts rolling off of you. So, 15, 20 minutes, that's about all you can stand. And there's only, if you look,
so much.
There is two little eyes that I'm looking out at, but it's through screen, so you don't see real good in it either. So the whole thing was, when he came down to the trade show, Cheryl had to escort the Groundhog. So she's walking through the Hilton Hotel, and we were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we're walking through, and she's having to escort the Groundhog down the stairs so he doesn't trip and bust himself and break a leg getting to the trade show. So anyway, but it's just been part of the branding thing that we've done. And, that's what you got to do in business, Lynn. Everybody's got to have a brand. And your brand is what people talk about you when you're not around. And it's just part of the process of doing that.
Who let the hogs out? Coach is
Thanks, Charles.
See, Charles has known me for years, but that's the first time Charles has probably ever seen me wearing the Chucky head since we have known each other.
I love it. I love it. Oh, I know the coolest people ever. I love you.
Yeah. So it's really crazy. If you go on to like today, I was looking up groundhog recipes. So I had I'm really serious. I found groundhogs that were, stewed groundhogs, groundhog cookies, groundhog meatloaf, people shaping it like
serious cookies.
Yeah. Go to Google Images and search I'm gonna
do it right
groundhog,
now.
and you will find groundhog cookies. Yes, ma'am.
Tim says tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken. That's right.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to cook up some of your mascot there, you would truly have ground chuck. So we could. Jerry, I got to ask you something though, on a serious note, because you actually took like a theme that everybody knows, and you turned it into kind of this business idea. But it's how important is it that people really think about not getting stuck in that rut? And why do you think people do, where they keep doing the same things over? What do you think the reason is?
Sure.
That people are afraid to move out of that box.
Right. And I'll share something with you. And Lynn knows I work with a certain niche type of business. Okay. I am a full-time coach. This is what I do for a living. And I work in a certain niche, Scott, and it's in the home services industry. But I deal basically with one occupation. What do you think that is, Scott? Home services.
Pest control.
No.
I'm just thinking. Home services.
Yes. People that provide services to homeowners.
Well, maybe insurance.
Nope. I'm talking about a guy that would come to your house and work on something at your house.
Plumbers?
No.
It's an important inspection. I give you that.
Okay, Scott, my niche is chimney sweeps. I work with chimney service companies across America. I mean, where do you live, Scott?
I live down in Fort Lauderdale. We don't have a lot of reasons for chimneys down here.
You might be surprised because we have a lot of people that clean dryer vents. There's a lot of vent pre-gas logs in Florida.
Yeah.
Those type of things. In fact, I've got a son who lives in Fort Lauderdale too, just so you're aware.
Oh,
but
excellent.
Anyway, right. So anyway, I work with this niche industry as a coach, as a trainer, And it's like next week, we're actually doing an online virtual event on Monday. It's called our Home Service Success Summit. We have 7 different speakers. Like we got Scott McCain, we've got Randy Pennington, we got Tommy Mello, we've got Al Levy, we've got Cheryl, my wife, that Lynn is very close to, Brandy that works with us, and myself. So this is an all-day event that we're doing on Monday that is geared out to success of home service contractors and the challenges they face, because this is actually what we call the best of times, but it's the worst of times, because right now business is so good, it is unreal, but there's such a hiring challenge, the supply and demand issues.
Yeah.
So what you've got to do today, and we talked about this in our in some of our broadcasts this week, about to be successful, you have to be a distinctive company. You have to be a company that has the right culture. You got to be a business and a company that people want to build a career with you. And this is the hard thing. So this is what we're basing that on. This is what our basis is for next week.
And Jerry,
well, part of that culture is also regional too. They have to understand the region to adopt the right culture, because the culture down here would not work in Virginia or up in New York or out in Montana. It's like Florida, where you live. Florida is where so many Yankees go to die. I mean, when you look at it, Florida. No, it is. People from New York. We're from New York.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in fact, I'm from North Carolina, and we are the halfback state. Do you know what a halfback is, Scott?
Yeah, it's a often overlooked position in football.
That's one. But we are the halfback state because people move to Florida, but it's too hot for them. So then they move halfway back home. So we get all you damn Yankees land up here in North Carolina, South Carolina.
That's why all my friends are buying cabins up there.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
I understand. But it's very real. It's very true, because things change from one town over. It's like you're in Florida. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, that's immensely different than what you've got in Orlando, or if you go to Tampa. When you look at it, or you go to a state like Texas. If you go to a state like Texas, I've got a client in Amarillo, Texas. I've had them in Dallas, Texas. I've got them in Austin, Texas, and I've got them in Houston, Texas. And all of those environments are completely different. Okay. It's just in fact, if you go to Houston, it's very similar to where you're at in Fort Lauderdale. It's a tropical climate. If you go to Dallas, 3 hours away, it's a very cold area. And Texas is a very wet area on the east side. You go to the west side, it's dry and arid. So it changes all over the country.
Absolutely.
And this is what I love, and I'm glad you're here, Jerry, because the topic that we're talking about is going with the flow of life. And I love you, Jerry, for so many reasons, because your wisdom and your knowledge and the way you contribute to so many people, and the love you have for humanity, and the way you just give. You're just a book of knowledge, and you're always caring and giving, and you mean so much to me. Dearly, you know that you're like a dad to me, and I love you dearly. But in your business too, like you're amazing. You can talk and help people in Florida and Texas, and then people all the way up in New York and all these different climates. You obviously know how to flow. You obviously, and I know this about your work, that you actually go in and, you go in and assess where they're at, with their employees and how they're doing their business and all these things. And you help them, where they need, help, and you help them excel. And I love that about you and Cheryl, and you guys are just amazing. And I'm just blessed to call you friends and family. And you guys are just amazing. And to know that you're doing this on Monday, I'll be promoting that again. It's just amazing. And I want to take an opportunity again to know that the knowledge you give and the legacy you're leaving behind is just amazing. And I just love you for that. And I just want to take that chance to say that again.
Scott, after all that, she's going to send me an invoice. I have a feeling.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
But no, it's not. No, but see, that's what it's all about. In fact, Lynn, yesterday, actually, I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours yesterday who's a trainer. Okay. There you go. Charles put up You know,
Here.
you would have been proud. I was at a client's house. They said they no longer need to have their fireplace cleaned. Let them know. There you go, Charles. That's great. You gave them the right information. But that's what it is. It's like we do a couple different broadcasts. I have one broadcast. It's called the Fireplace Show. And Fireplace Show, yeah, Charles knows I run the Chimney Mafia. Charles knows exactly what I'm talking about. And what that comes from is we had a group called UBS, and it was Ultimate Business Summit. And that was Larry Winget, Scott McCain, and Randy Pennington. And Charles was
I'm going to interrupt you really quick. Do you know who Larry Winget is, Scott?
No.
Okay, you see, I didn't. And he was like, you don't? Oh my gosh. He's hilarious. You'll have to look him up. He's like, he's a no shit bullshit kind of coach. You're going to freaking love him. But anyways, go ahead, Jerry. Sorry to interrupt you. So
anyway, they had this UBS thing, which was in Las Vegas. And I brought a lot of my clients from the chimney industry. So everybody was introducing themselves. And every time you turned around, it was another chimney company said, I'm so-and-so. And finally, there was a guy stood up and said he told him where he was from, and he was a member of the Chimney Mafia also. And then it kind of got around, and Charles will remember that story because he was at the UBSs. That's where I got to know Charles at. But, you know, it's all about what it actually is everybody's got dreams, okay? Lynn, you got dreams. Scott, you got dreams, and those are your dreams. And the problem is most people cannot set a GPS and move where their dreams become their reality. So what we find out is, what do you want your life and your business to look like? Not in 20 years, but we bring it down to 3 years. What do you want it to look like? And we get on the paint a picture to us, kind of a blank sheet of canvas. Tell us what you want to be. Tell us what you want to do. Where do you want to go? And, you know, it's like if the business will examine the market area. And if somebody says, well, I want a service truck I want to run 100 service trucks in my business. Well, the problem is your market's not going to support that. So to do that, we're going to have to relocate, or we can examine it. We know how many households it takes to support one service truck. So we actually studied the demographics, and then we'll look at the market area where they're serving, said, okay, the market area you're in can service 17 trucks. If that's what you want, that's where we can go to with this. So we got to put this plan together, just like a journey. Just like when Lynn took her journey to see your dad was your final destination in Florida, Lynn, if I remember correct.
Correct.
So when
Absolutely.
she did that, she set a journey up. She set a voyage up. Okay.
Yeah.
And where I'm going,
Scott, I went and saw Scott too. So, yep.
Okay. So she landed at your house too. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She had her stopping points of where she went to. She had it all mapped out of where she was going to be, when she was going to get there. I'm going to arrive at your house if this works Tuesday at such and such a time, and I'll be leaving on Thursday morning or whatever it is. Well, that's what you got to do with your life. You got to map it out. But at the same time, as you're mapping this out, as you go on this journey, you're going to run into roadblocks. You're going to run into detours. So what you've got to do is be ready to handle those detours and change your direction to miss the roadblocks. And that's what we do. We work with people to help them through those roadblocks and challenges.
And I love you say that. And I love that you say that too, Jerry, because like I said, I wanted to talk about this topic tonight because the flow of life, February this month, I knew I was supposed to have any doctor's appointments this month. So I was going to work on, hello, Sandy. Thanks for being here.
Sandy.
So I was going to work on more of telling people what's going on with my health and what I'm planning and doing other interviews and stuff. And so this little bit of cold kind of kicked me back a little bit. And I'm just, taking a couple little steps. But again, it is mapping things out. And that really does work really well, Jerry. And I'm glad that you brought that up. And I want to go back to what Charles said here real quick. Larry Wing at the Pitbull of Personal Achievement. You want Scott, like I said, I did not know who he was. You'll like him. I think
I'll check him out.
I'll give you here's a good quote by Larry. You want to know why your sales suck? It's because you suck. Okay. That's the kind of things that Larry comes up with. But see, Larry, I trained under Larry for speaking. Cheryl and I went to his speaking group, and we studied under Larry. Well, the thing is, do you know what a soundbite is, Scott?
Yes, of course.
Okay. This is one of the things you have to learn to do, which is speak in sound bites. And Larry, that's one of the things he taught me, where a sound bite for anyone that's listening is saying something in such a profound manner that it makes people think.
Right.
Right.
But don't do that at the expense of not listening.
Correct.
Because that's where a lot of people make the mistake. They want to be profound, but they're not listening to how to communicate. If you sit with a person for 2 minutes, in 2 minutes you could figure out the kind of language to use, the pace of your language, the tone of your language, and everything else. I teach NLP, and I teach communication skills is one of the things I do, and I travel around and I train on that. And my first rule of thumb for anybody in any conversation is enter every conversation with the thought that you need to learn something from that person. Correct. Because if you don't, then all you're doing is preaching, and preachers, they don't carry the same weight as building rapport and friendships.
Correct.
But I love the idea of have something that they can walk away with too. Right. The soundbite is a great way to do that.
Right. It's like I was having a conversation with Larry on Sunday, and it was something we're going through. It was like I was asking him for advice, and it was like, Jared, you got to remember, people will walk slowly to progress, but they'll run like hell from pain.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, a lot of people want to provide a solution, but the people don't know they have to have a problem. So the first thing, and if you're a communications teacher, then the first thing is you got to talk about what is the pain, because people buy from pain. 70% of people will buy to eradicate a pain. 30% will buy because they have a desire. And if you look at it, some things it'll be both. We will say that a woman wants a swimming pool in her backyard. That's her desire. The man will buy from the pain to shut her the hell up to give her the pool. Does this make sense? So you got to analyze. But like I said, you go through life, you meet challenges, you meet roadblocks. Like one of the things is, before Lynn ever met me, the 20th of January last year, I hit a major roadblock. And Lynn actually had me a guest on her show just a couple of days after that, because on the 20th of January, just out of the blue, I decided to have a major heart attack sitting in my office alone. Right. Okay. And this was one that was actually told me it was a widowmaker later. And I think Lynn, it blew everybody away because I was back at it next day. Okay. I'm serious. This was 2 days. I'm back. You couldn't tell anything had ever happened. I came back with the gusto. But again, that was a roadblock set there, and you had to go through some lifestyle changes. And that's what you have to do is you go through life, and you've got to change your directions.
One of the ways I like to explain it to people is if I want to drive from New York to Miami, and back in the old days, Jerry, you'll remember this. Remember the triptychs we used to get from the AAA? Now everybody's got Siri and everything else, but but you would have a plan, and I'm going to leave New York. I'm going to Miami, and I'm going to drive down 95. I'm going to hop on 81. I'm going to get on 84. That's my plan. But if the wind or a storm washes out a bridge on 95, you've reached a roadblock in your journey. So what do? Do you turn? And I ask people, do you turn around and go home? And they're like, no, you just take a detour. I said, that's exactly right. You take a detour, but so many people won't do that with their own lives. Or more importantly, when they're trying to communicate with somebody, they hit a roadblock in their communication and they give up and they walk away instead of looking for detours. Right. And the beautiful thing is about detours is you get off the main road and you actually find the best diners and the best little shops. The world's best cup of coffee and blueberry pie isn't on 95, it's on the detour. So you still are going to your goals, you're still going to your destination, but you allow those detours to actually enhance the journey, not make it worse.
That's it. Yes.
I couldn't agree more. And Scott, that's why it's like, I know I'm going to be taking your course here soon and getting certified with that soon, but I'm also just invested in Rex's NLP Master Home course as well. So, because he's been teaching it for 40 years. So, and I know that what you were just talking about is really going to help me to articulate and know that it is important when you have something of value to say, but you've got to understand where that person's coming from and to know what language, how they listen, because if not, it's not going to be received. Right. And there's no impact. There's no way of communicating that. So that's a great tool to have in that capacity.
Yeah. Another Larry Winget thing that I learned. Have you two ever heard of what's called developing your point of view?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I've heard of developing your point of view. Yes.
Right. What your point of view is, and this is something that you're taught, that Larry teaches you and Suzanne Evans that I went through that speak program with. And your point of view is what you base everything on. In other words, every speaker has a point of view. I mentioned Scott McCain a while ago. If you listen to Scott, his point of view is distinction. Randy Pennington, it's all about culture. Everybody has different things that they teach on. So, the one that I developed up was that pain, change is painful. And each of us have to make a decision in life if we will undergo the pain of change, or we will stay, or we will continue in the same pain we're in. So, and Cheryl, my wife, who Lynn does a show with, her first book, here it is. So she actually got it very quickly. And this is the first book she wrote, which is a little mini book right there. It's what they, see if we can get it up here. But the title of the book is, I'm Glad I Did. Do What It Takes Not to Say I Should Have. And as Lynn will tell you, my wife, Cheryl, she's a very inspirational person. I'm very, very serious. If it hadn't been for that woman, I wouldn't be here today. I will tell you that. Yeah,
she's a blessing. I'm lucky. I'm doing a show tomorrow morning with her. It's basically it's a Wisdom Wednesday show with her.
Right. You go on at 12:15 tomorrow, I believe. Am I correct? Or 12
o'clock. Yep.
So you're going to come on as soon as my Groundhog Live is over with. So what you have to do is ask her, you having groundhogs around there today or anything like that?
Oh, we'll be talking about it for sure. We're going to be the after show. I'm going to be asking for the scoops, everybody. So and I'll be sharing his show tomorrow without a doubt. For sure, of what's going on with the groundhog.
Yeah, we've got a special. Yeah, we're calling this the Groundhog Live. Okay, and they'll have a groundhog on the promos when we send them out tomorrow. That kind of stuff. So, like Charles said, this is where we met each other, Charles and I, some years ago. And Charles there is also a person who has hit walls in his life. If you know Charles's story, Charles is a very, very inspirational story when you know everything. And I'm not going to say it all because it's kind of, I don't know what Charles wants to share, but knowing Charles as I've had and watching him go through, and it's kind of inconceivable that he's able to do the broadcast and everything he does. And Charles has such deep religious beliefs. I mean, that's one of his shows he goes on, and he does Bible study. And this is the whole thing where you admire people that can do great things. I mean, you really do. You admire great things. Now, Lynn just featured Ken Walls on there. What about playing his guitar? And I was thinking, well, don't pump his ego, okay?
I know. You know what? He's not going to watch his show anyways. I guarantee you he won't watch it.
But that's what when you were doing, that's like, don't pump his ego. We got to.
I know. He can't get through the door on Thursday, but he's not going to be there this Thursday. But he's not going to watch this. So,
Yeah. So, but Joe Ingram's going to be running it tomorrow. Joe and I had a conversation yesterday, but same token, Joe and I talked yesterday. I'm going to do an appearance with him in March on his War Games thing. But the broadcast, the whole thing about it is, if you can share what you do with other people, I'm in a very good position because I can help other people and I'm able to make a fairly decent living at it, okay? I don't live in poverty. Lynn's been to my house, and Ken Walls loves to tell everybody about my backyard and all this stuff, right, Lynn?
Yeah, but I swam in the pool, and I didn't brag about it. I'm just like, I don't want anybody to know where he lives, because if I'm missing, don't come looking for me.
No.
I want to thank Charles for the compliment. Thank you, Charles.
Yes, yes, you're very talented in a lot of things. Absolutely.
A lot of people have seen my music out there, and Charles also mentioned that I'm going to be teaching people to paint pretty soon, and that's not the case since I just started learning. I just started.
Well, listen, you invited me in. I don't want to occupy your whole show up tonight, Lynn.
Look at that. Look at his paintings.
That's fantastic.
Look at his paintings. And what other painting you have there, Scott?
This is Tom Petty.
Look at that. He just did that.
Have you seen those framed arts that's right behind Cheryl's desk since you put them up?
Yes.
Is that not phenomenal?
Yes. They're amazing, and we haven't talked that.
They're fantasy paintings, Scott. And what it is, there's a woman that is an artist in Texas, and they do a booth at the Renaissance Festival. So she makes these. The best I can say is fantasy photos, but our fantasy drawings, artwork. But it's a real good interest. It has usually horses. It's kind of like magical. But look at Lynn's show tomorrow. And Cheryl, show him some pictures of that because they're really, we got like 8 or 10 of them in the house. It's the kind of art that we like. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that stuff too. I grew up with Frank Frazetta as being one of my heroes of art. And it was all fantasy and warrior stuff, Conan and Tarzan and that kind of stuff too. So Jerry, I appreciate you joining us, man.
Jerry.
It's very nice meeting you. And Lynn, I am putting my link for our event on Sunday into the comments. So if anybody's looking at that, it is a virtual event. We'll start at 9 a.m. that morning. We've got 7 presenters, and it's all going to be based on the challenges of management. And we're going to be dealing with how to build distinctive businesses, culture. Cheryl will be doing a presentation on hiring, that kind of stuff. So, hey, if anybody's listening, hey, we'd love to have you in. You can register at that link.
I posted it on YouTube, and I'm posting it now on via Facebook. Live, Love, Laugh.
Yeah.
So they're there now in the comments for you guys to grab that.
Okay.
And so
Lynn,
thank you
Scott,
so much.
I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you guys. Thank you, Charles. That means the world to me. AM Fine Speaker sounds good, but that last part, Charles, that's the bigger part. Thank you for that comment. A great gentleman. That means more than you can imagine for me.
Absolutely. And I will have some pop-up shows with Jerry. We're planning to just figure out our schedules, and we're going to do some pop-up shows between us because I just want to have more time with that guy.
Sometimes I show up on a Friday show and I have to whoop up on Brian once in a while too.
That's always fun. That's always fun.
Love you, Jerry.
Okay,
Jerry, take care of yourself, brother.
Hey, y'all be good. I've enjoyed the conversation with you.
And thank you for always showing up and supporting us. We really appreciate you.
Well, remember to celebrate Groundhog Day tomorrow.
Hello.
We will.
He's taking a nap with me tonight.
Okay. We'll see y'all later.
Love you. Bye.
Well, that was pretty awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
That was pretty awesome. I'm sorry we've been ignoring all the comments and everything, but it was great having Jerry on there.
Okay, so you want to go through the comments a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think Charles was asking how much for the Morrison painting.
Yeah, there's people that are interested in your paintings.
All right, so this is the one. In case we didn't see it, this is my latest one. This is Tom Petty, my tribute to Tom Petty. And it's pop art. It's just what it is.
Yes, Darlene, you need to hang out with us.
Yeah, Darlene, please hang out with us. This is what happens when you're single and you got a house to yourself. And I built a music studio. Now I got an art studio, and that's what I do all the time.
And I'm lucky he's got a guest room for me.
And I'm keeping the guest room unless I take up another sport or another hobby.
You can't.
And then it's going to have to go away. Maybe I'll turn it into a pickleball court or something. I don't know.
No.
But I'm having a blast with the painting and stuff, and I'm not selling anything. I might down the road, but right now I'm still trying to find my style and my thing. Right now,
forget about the hoarder thing. It might come out to be a hoarder thing, but right now,
I know. But the Morrison knows.
I know it's going to happen. By the time I get there, I might have to do an intervention and just go ahead and start getting on doing a live. Okay, how much for this one? How much for that? No, just kidding. Just
Oh, I just got a
what?
message. Well, I don't think he's listening, but dog, thank you, brother. Mahalo.
Oh,
See you soon. See you soon. All right, a friend of mine. But anyway,
yeah. What dog?
he
Is
shoots, he
everything okay?
scores. He shoots, he scores.
Yeah.
You know,
What?
huge
Is dog
Morrison
gonna show
fan.
up?
Charles is what? Dogs. One day we're working on some
day.
things right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Huge Morrison fan. That's great. I love the Doors. I love playing and singing the Doors music.
So what I'll find to do, you guys, I learned in shop. I could probably take that picture and I get there sometime and I can just like take a picture and do a reprint or something for you. And we can get you some of those out and we can give those as gifts away someday.
You can't.
I got all these marketing.
I got
all these marketing ideas later. So don't worry. Have some faith. Just, whatever.
I don't want to sue you.
We're not suing. But you know what? This will be good. Don't worry. I got some ideas.
Well, what I'm working on right now and what you'll see on the next show, because it's almost complete, is my Freddie Mercury. So I'm working on Freddie Mercury. That's why I got paint on my hands right now. I'm working on my Freddie Mercury in the other room. So if you guys are Queen fans, Freddie Mercury, that one's coming out soon. But, you know, going with the flow of life is when you have a chance to do something, when you have an opportunity. See, everybody thinks going with the flow is always about the bad times, but there's always these other times when you have an opportunity to try something and we pass it up or we say no to a chance to do something new. Things are always presented to us and we look past them because we're so blinded by just the everyday minutia that we're stuck in. Try new things, do new things. The flow of life, it's always presented. You know, it's a shame that the roller coaster, the biggest thrill of the roller coaster is when things are going down. And sometimes the only thing that excites us when we're in tragic moments or when we're in a tailspin and we're trying to control everything. And what we forget to do is enjoy the ride to the top and look around when you're up there and really take a look. That's what going with the flow is. Don't just get excited and get reactionary to the bad things. Get excited and react to the good things and find new things on the way.
You know, I can't tell you how perfect it was that Jerry was here and that he talked about me doing this book and everything, because remember, I think it was like January, we had talked about me coming down and seeing you in June and all that stuff, right? Well, I was doing all that planning and here April 15th is coming along and I'm saying I'm going to leave June 1st. And, you know, I'm like, oh, I should write a book. And then it's like, well, when are you going to do it? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be leaving and I might as well do a little book tour and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, like he says, you make a plan and you make a plan and you go with it. But, you know, life and that's what I like to do. I like to have some kind of plan. And I was planning what I'm going to do for this February. And now I got a little sick. I had fever and cold and whatever. And I didn't really panic whether it's COVID or not. I knew I could stay home, but it really just stopped me to halt and say, Lynn, you need to take time because this coming month, this time, I'm going to be sharing some health issues and what I'm going to be going through and how that's going to play out. And I have all these different plans that are supposed to happen this month, but I like to be on point with the schedule. But I realized this really halted and said, you know what? Even though I've had a fever and cold sweats and things I'm going through, this could be much worse. Oxygen level's been great. I'm like, I went everywhere. I've been to New York twice in this pandemic. I've done really well. I've come back and then I just got my granddaughter's cold after she already had COVID. And then 3 weeks later, she gets a cold. And so anyways, I bring all this to say this, that I was reminded that, Lynn, relax. You need to take care of you. And I thought, and I thanked my body for taking care of me, for, you know, I'm going to heal. I'm going to be okay. And that all that matters is me taking care of myself right now and that everybody can be okay. I didn't even know if I could be here tonight, but we were still planning like we normally do. I was going to see if Gary could come up. I mean, like, I just had like a little plan B, you know. I was like, okay, if we're here for 15 minutes, because I can't do it. My eyes were literally burning. And I was actually going to show you guys how bad I looked the last few days. I mean, it was not very good. But you know what? I didn't think how bad it could be. I could think how good I was going to be in a few days. And so what I'm saying is I think it's a blessing when you have these pauses or these stops, because I think things happen for you, not against you. And I think they're all blessings. And I think that everything that happens, you got to have something happen for you to appreciate the good things that are going on. And so and so my dogs even knew I was sick, that they didn't bother me. They didn't bark. They were worried about me. So again, you just got to go with life. You got to just, I was concerned. I texted all 3 of my girls and said, hey, whatever. And they checked on me. But, again, you just got to go flow and appreciate things and just give people love, but give yourself grace, give yourself love, and just don't overpromise yourself to anybody else. When you don't feel good, tell people, hey, I need a timeout. And so I can't promise you things right now. Give yourself that leeway, not excuses. Just say, I'm not sure. And it'll really, really help you to know that you don't have that pressure on yourself. And
from hogs to dogs and everything in between.
Absolutely. So, it really is important to know that when you give yourself grace and understanding and be kind, and so what? If anything, know that your dates or whatever might fluctuate for a day or two, or your goal or whatever you plan to do, but still make it your intention. Don't allow like a Cole to say, oh, well, that's my excuse. No, it's not your excuse. But also just, there's always, like every project, right? Like whether you're making a mess to clean a mess or there's something going on, you might not be able to do the big things, but there's always little things you can do for every project that you could do while you're prepping up or getting something done. That everything doesn't always get done in a project all, one way. There's a lot of little things you can do on downtime. And it's just micromanaging and managing your time to get it all done is really what it comes down to. But be kind to yourself and do what you can when you can. And that really helps with going flow. Like the little tidbits I like to do is take a book with me so that if I'm waiting at a doctor's, I'm not mad at the doctor. I'm reading a book or sending a text or sending a thank you or doing whatever, just fill in those cracks with little things and you can get those stuff done. Scott, I think somebody mentioned something here.
No, sending you healing vibes.
Thank you. I appreciate
sending
that,
you
darling.
vibes.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. I didn't even want to put it on Facebook that I was feeling whatever because I didn't want to stay in that state. There was no point in having anybody be worried about me either. I just wanted to send the love out because I think what you bring out there, you get back. And so I didn't want to bring anybody, concerning for me. And like they say, right? If you pray for yourself, then, what, you don't think your prayers are good enough that you got to get everybody else to pray for you too? Not that I believe in the power of prayer. Don't get me wrong. And sometimes you just need everybody to pray for you. But sometimes just praying for yourself and believing God's going to hear your prayers are just as important. And start there and have faith that your prayer is going to be answered is what I'm saying. So anyhow, I think we had all sorts of variety of things happen this hour. Like we've been.
Yeah. As usual, we had a variety of things and it's always good to
and I want to plug in.
Join us.
I want to plug in. Is it next week that you and Gary are gonna, or is it after the Super Bowl?
No, next week on February 7th. Okay. Gary and I will be starting our Live Out Loud podcast on Monday nights, and we will send the information to Lynn to put out to all you guys. That'll be going out in a few days. But starting on Monday nights at 7:00, it's Live Out Loud podcast with myself, Scott Jones, and Gary Wayne. And it's all about living your best life. It's about being happy, celebrating life. We talk about being clean and sober and, breaking from the bondage of addiction and alcoholism. But we don't spend the whole show talking about the addiction itself. We spend time talking about, are you living the best life you can? Are you laughing enough? Are you singing? Are you playing enough? Are you enjoying yourself? Because I'll tell you what, helping people find recovery for so many years And one of the mistakes is that everybody wants to point out all the badness that happens during addiction. But let's start to look. Let's change the focus. People don't get off the elevator because you're telling them it's a crappy elevator. They get off the elevator because there's something on that floor that they want to go to, and that's what we're trying to do. Celebrate the life you can have and start living it today. And again, through music, through art, through friendship, through laughter, we goof around a lot. We have a lot of fun, and we want all of you to join us. We got a great Live Out Loud Nation that follows us. We want all you guys to join us as well and just have some fun with us. So that'll be a great thing. Next Monday night at 7:00, it's at Live Out Loud Podcast on Facebook, or you can get it right through Lynn's channel too.
And you know what, Scott, just so everybody knows, ready or not, Tuesday, we'll have our show. And then Wednesday night, I'm going to start a new podcast with my new little lipedema sister. And we're going to be the little lippy sisters as far as talking about the condition. The condition.
The lippy sisters. That's a lot of different. Yeah,
I know, connotations, right?
Blah blah
exactly.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So I was supposed to.
Show's be 8 hours long.
No, you're fine.
Talking and talking.
But it's gonna be very candor, and I think I'm probably not going to talk about it till next week. But yeah, it will be.
When are you starting that?
Actually, we'll start it next Wednesday because we're going to do it every other week. She and I on Wednesday nights because she has her daughter every other weekend every other Wednesday is not going to be there. So we're going to do it every other Wednesday night.
If you guys want to check out our previous shows, we've done about 85 episodes now of Live Out Loud. Charles says it sounds great. Check it out. Go to our Facebook page, or more importantly, even go to our YouTube channel, Live Out Loud Podcast on YouTube, and you'll see all of our shows on there. And please just join us next week. Charles, I'd love to have you there. I know how much you love music and good times. Gary is a professional musician, and he also works with me helping people recover from addiction and from mental health disorders. And that's what we do for our life. That's our calling. But Charles, it'd be great to have you there, brother, because we'll hit you with some trivia. We'll have some fun with you, and maybe even have you do a pop on, because I'd love to have you on. I've caught his other shows. I've caught some of Charles's other stuff. When he talks about music, he's so passionate about the music.
I know.
And
it'll be great. It'll be great.
I'm gonna ask Charles a quick trivia question. See if you can get it in the next 10 seconds.
Go ahead.
What was the name of the plane that Buddy Holly died on? What was the name of the plane that Buddy Holly died on? Let's see if you guys can do that. Darlene, thank you. I'd love to have you join us.
Thank you so much, Darlene.
She said in an earlier text she wanted to start hanging out with us. Well, this is where you hang with us.
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
You're in Lynn's house. You're in my studio. In my house. You're with us. You're part of us.
Absolutely.
So. And most of my friends like talking to me this way, where they don't have to be close to me. So this is good.
Aww.
This is good. It's our pleasure.
And you stumped him, or wait.
Well, it wasn't Peggy Sue. No, it wasn't. Actually, the name on the airplane was American Pie. They actually had the name American Pie on the airplane, and that's one of the reasons that Don McLean wrote the song the way he did. So, just a little trivia for you, my friend.
That was a good trivia, and we should really get going because we got over an hour here. But we really love talking to you guys. This has been great. And we will talk to you guys next week. Love you.
Mahalo. Have a great one.